Hello everybody! Today we're doing something a tad bit different. I want to show you my process when designing Littlest Pet Shop customs. I also wanted to include my followers in on the process. So if you want to be featured in a future video like this, go ahead and follow my Instagram, LPSEmily with 2 Y's, because somebody stole the original username for some reason. What I did this morning was post like 4 different stories. I asked my followers to submit some words to inspire me to design some LPS customs. So for the first word, I asked for a word that would insinuate a more pleasant looking design. So something like tropical or botanical or starry. On the second story, I asked them to submit a chaotic or silly word. So cheese, garbage, crayon, etc. Just stuff that's like random and maybe not the most aesthetically pleasing, but would make for a very silly design. And lastly, I asked for a specific LPS mold type or breed. This is how the designs are going to go. Design number 1 will have 2 randomized pleasant words and 1 randomized LPS base. Design 2 will have 2 randomized chaotic words and 1 randomized LPS base. And design 3 will have 1 randomized pleasant word, 1 randomized chaotic word, as well as a randomized LPS base. Got a little cappuccino refill. Wow, still really hot. We are going to start with our first pleasant custom. All right, randomizing. Lotus/pond theme. I kind of want to challenge myself by picking 2 different ones. Okay, I'm looking. Coffee? Coffee? Maybe I can make it work. I can make it work. I can make it work. Okay, now I almost forgot. We have to do the molds. And I'm a little bit worried because I have an idea in my head, but if it doesn't have like a huge noggin or a lot of like face real estate, this might be difficult. A snake? What am I thinking? Like, you know how people make like the little swans or like the little like these on the coffee? I'm wondering if I can kind of like incorporate that into the like lotus lily pad vibe. I think I'm going to lead more into pond, but I think I will have elements of coffee. One of my best tips for designing a character, especially with a tricky prompt, is to create some sort of list of ideas and conceptualize visually with a mood board. Today, I would like to introduce our sponsor, Milanote. Milanote has been my go-to app for organizing and planning my creative projects lately. I use Milanote for a plethora of things, from planning my birthday to organizing all of my LPS designs, compiling set ideas for my series, and even making an LPS wishlist. I love having a blank canvas to just throw all my thoughts and ideas onto to see what sticks. Visually, being able to include text, videos, color swatches, photos, and links is so helpful in my creative process. Milanote offers over 100 built-in templates for any type of creative work as well. Mood boards, creative briefs, project plans, storyboards, and weekly plans are some examples. Today, I'm using the mood board template to organize all my ideas and inspiration for some LPS customs that I'm designing. I'm able to insert photos for inspiration, create a list of all the materials I'll need, use color swatches, and insert patterns to get a better idea of what I want these doll projects to really look like. It really helps my creative process for me to see things visually because I find picturing things in my head can be a bit difficult sometimes. Having all of my research and color palettes in one space is the ideal way for me to navigate my own creative process. And it's great for group work as well. Work on your bigger projects with friends by using a collaborative board, and it's great for getting feedback from co-creators in an organized manner. Milanote can also be used for anything, not just customizing dolls. Say you want to redesign your bedroom or world build for your characters. Milanote just relaunched their mobile app, so if you're like me and tend to get ideas on the go, or when you wake up in the middle of the night, it's very easy to just quickly open it up on your phone or tablet, jot down some thoughts, or add in a picture and put it away. And one of the best things about Milanote is that it's completely free to use. And if you're interested, you can click the link in the description to start using Milanote today for free. Thank you to Milanote for sponsoring today's video, and let's get back to drawing! So I first like to start out by tracing a base to work from. There are bases online for the more prominent LPS molds, but I prefer just to draw my own to keep the design consistent. Some people like to draw the animal outright in their own style, which I think is really cute, but I like it to look as close to the actual LPS as possible so that I just get a better idea of what the output is going to look like. I really enjoy using textured brushes for my base outlines because it tends to lend itself to you in that you can be more freeform and creative without the constraints of having everything be perfectly lined up. I started off trying to give him a little lily pad umbrella situation. I wasn't really liking the shape of it, so I decided to switch it into a little beret with a water lily on top instead. For the head of the pet, I used a bit of a gradient, which if I was making it in person, I would use pastels to shade. I've really been enjoying that lately. It adds like a really nice depth to the figure. I did a ton of pastel shading on my recent Horrific Head Swaps Dragon Seafoam. Speaking of seafoam, I played around with a seafoamy water texture. It's kind of more ocean than pond, but I thought it would be really fun nonetheless. The coffee part was one of the most difficult parts to incorporate. I was really pushing the pond theme and didn't want to make it too confusing, so I decided to go with coffee accents. Using latte art on the body and coffee bean shaped eye shines, I was able to brute force the coffee theme into this pet's design. I like to reuse colors where I can, so I used the lotus color as a blush and for the tongue, as well as the green from the lily pad in the eyes. And then I had the idea at the end to add a little cattail plant to the tail. Not only is it pond themed, but it's also like a rattlesnake tail, and it looks a little bit like a coffee bean. I felt so smart after this. Big genius, big fat genius brain. And of course, I added lots of fluffy tufts. I know snakes aren't fluffy, but it's so much fun to add sculpting and fluff to any pets. It just gives them so much more personality and makes the mold even more customizable. This is the finished product. I'm really happy with how he turned out, and I would love to make him into a custom. Okay, spinning for a silly goofy one. MS Paint. And number 2 is Fruit Loop. Okay. Otter! It's done. It's over. It's over. I started off with the otter's outline and decided to do a front view as well as a side view just because there was going to be a lot of details, and I kind of knew this as I was getting into it. I was a bit stumped because admittedly I was not an MS Paint kid. I was a Kid Pix kid, so I wasn't super familiar with the interface, but I just started fiddling with colors and shapes right away. If you want to start by kind of making a color palette, I'll usually make like a board of some type or just make a list of different things that I want to include. Something to keep in mind while designing LPS customs, if you'd like to get technical, are the elements of design. This is what makes a design work and be more visually appealing versus something that might be less enticing to the eye. It's overwhelmingly a lot to consider at once, but if you're just starting out, recognizing color, shape, line, and space will be where you find the most success with LPS customs in particular. Within my style, I have my own set of rules revolving around color. I prefer not to use stark whites or blacks often in my pieces unless I need something to be very prominent. I tend to lean towards warmer shades over cooler shades for a cuter and more cozier effect. With shape, it's good to find shapes that accentuate the way that the base pet looks. I often find myself gravitating towards highlighting the eye shape or using a scalloped edge often to add movement and softness to a piece. Using lines to guide the eye around the piece are what I used for the snake pond custom. It creates intrigue and more structure. I was really excited to make this Fruit Loop MS Paint otter, both kind of bizarre and silly prompts, but I wanted to see if I could take the challenge to do something cute with it. My heart tells me to do something chaotic, it really does, but my brain tells me to run with it and try to take the challenge and make it cute. I did a lot of experimenting with this one. I leaned into the Windows XP aesthetic for it a bit as well. I was even considering going more vaporwave, but it wasn't really the prompt. I of course made it fluffy and played around with the color palette. I thought that adding some circle shapes around the eyes could maybe get across the Fruit Loop vibe while also getting the color paint palette idea across. These are the colors of Fruit Loops, if you didn't know. I thought that doing little cursor eyebrows would be so freaking cute as well. More webcore than MS Paint, but you get the gist. The nose is also webcore inspired, a little kind of Windows XP exit button. I wish I did the little Fruit Loop eye shines now that I think about it. Kind of a missed opportunity. I love star motifs, so it doesn't matter. Also, my analytics told me that like 40% of you watch my videos on the TV, which is so bold of you to trust me like that. So, Alexa, turn on all the lights. And, hey Siri, tell me the entire history of the alphabet. Okay, that's all. Maybe it's lazy, but I love me a good sticker, so I kind of made it look like its head is covered in stickers with little paint icons on the back of the head and body. I like how this one turned out. I kind of wish I stuck with the themes a little bit better. Kind of feels like I was running out of ideas here, but to be franklin with you, there are only so many ways you can incorporate both of these themes into an LPS. I do like the kidcore vibe to it very much though, so I'm pretty happy with the colors and how they complement each other so well. It is time now to do the last scramble, and we are going chaotic mode. Okay, so for the pleasant word, we're gonna go for ethereal. So we're gonna go for like an angel vibe. Okay, what kind of angel are we making? Oh, that's the... a sock angel? All right, what's the mold? Give me something good. Angora rabbit? So for this bunny, we first need to smallify the hair tuft on their forehead, if you want to be able to create their third eye, obviously. I am such a big fan of biblically accurate angel original characters. I find whenever I'm in an artist alley at a con, you can always count on the fact that I'll come back with some sort of like angel, fallen angel artwork. It's so bad. I thought that this prompt was really silly and had a lot of potential, so socks on the ears was my best idea. Ignore the sock shape and proportions, I changed that later on. But with how silky and droopy the Angora's ears and fur are, I thought some droopy socks would go really well with the vibe. I played with the shape of their wings for a little while, and sometimes wings can be kind of finicky. I added in their eyelashes and then did scalloped eyes because I literally cannot stop myself. And then I went for some cross-style eye shines. I am not religious, I just think it looked cool. I love eyelashes regardless of the gender of the character, so definitely add them if you like. They can also really alter the personality of a pet, like if you want to have some like sassier eyes with some bigger eyelashes, or some more modest eyelashes for somebody who's quieter and sweeter. And different shapes of eyelashes can be really fun too, like if you want to go for like an anime eye or something more rounded, it really changes everything. In terms of the color palette, I wanted to go very soft pastel and light, but keeping like the sock vibe. I did the heels and toes of the socks different colors and then played with them throughout the design as well. Lots of pastel blush under the eyes. It's just adds depth and some character. Maybe she's shy, emotional, just had a good fat cry, is super tired. I don't know, but her eyes are red. Maybe she has allergies. I added little socks to all of her tootsies because that is so cute and oh my gosh. I think she's really fun, a very interesting design challenge, and yeah. I would love if you told me in the comments which custom you'd like to see me create, and maybe if there's an overwhelming vote, I'll pick one and actually make it. Also, please like and comment if you enjoyed the video. It really helps me out. I really appreciate it.